OLED instead of e-ink, a physical QWERTY keyboard, and at least 12 gigabytes of RAM. The Minimal Phone 2 is turning into one of the most unusual smartphones of the next generation. The second-generation device from Minimal Company has already attracted more than $1.6 million on Kickstarter. That result is especially impressive because the original funding target was only $100,000. The project reached that initial goal within the very first minutes of the campaign, and then continued to attract significant attention from backers. One of the most important milestones was the $1.5 million mark. The developers had previously promised that once the campaign reached this amount, every Minimal Phone 2 would receive at least 12 gigabytes of RAM. The required milestone has now been achieved, meaning that the upgraded memory configuration is expected to become a standard feature. But the new smartphone also represents a significant change from the first Minimal Phone. One of the original model's most unusual characteristics was its e-ink display. For the second generation, the developers have decided to move in a completely different direction and equip the Minimal Phone 2 with a conventional OLED panel. The phone's biggest visual and functional feature remains its full-size physical QWERTY keyboard, positioned directly beneath the display. The concept is reminiscent of classic BlackBerry-style smartphones, bringing back physical keys in an era dominated by completely touchscreen-based devices. However, these are not simply traditional buttons. The surface of the keys is capacitive, allowing the keyboard to recognize gestures as well as normal key presses. This adds another layer of interaction and makes the physical keyboard more than just a nostalgic design element. In terms of connectivity, the Minimal Phone 2 is expected to support modern wireless standards, including 5G, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.4, and GPS. The smartphone will also support both a physical SIM card and eSIM, giving users additional flexibility when choosing a mobile network. On the software side, the Minimal Phone 2 will run Minimal OS, which is based on Android. The developers have also hinted at support for iMessage, although this will not be a native implementation of Apple's messaging service. Instead, the plan is to use OpenBubbles to provide iMessage functionality. There are important limitations to this approach. Activation typically requires access to a Mac, or users may need a paid service that costs approximately $16.99 per month. So while iMessage support is being considered, it will not work in exactly the same way as it does on an Apple device. The developers currently plan to begin shipping the Minimal Phone 2 in December 2026 or in early 2027. For people participating in the crowdfunding campaign, the starting price of the Minimal Phone 2 is $600. With its OLED display, physical QWERTY keyboard, capacitive gesture controls, modern 5G connectivity, and upgraded memory, the Minimal Phone 2 is taking a very different approach from today's mainstream smartphones, combining a classic physical keyboard concept with modern smartphone technology.